Hi. Hi, this is Jay. All right. Hopefully that's working. Hi, my name is Jay Bean. I am a co-founder and CEO of Fresh Lime. We're a a customer communication platform based in Lehi, Utah. And so today is really, really interesting because we're a technology company. We work with um, lots of businesses really kind of around the whole idea of helping them stay engaged, connected with their customers. Obviously, a lot of leads come through different marketing methods. And as you can see in today's title, it's we're talking about print. And so, actually, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago at a conference in LA. And then I was doing another presentation this morning, talking about how sometimes we're getting back to things that of the past. And um, so print is one of those things. Millions of businesses still utilize print as part of um, their platform in order to engage customers. And um, obviously, we think about online. We think about all the online marketing methods, whether it be search or paid search or SEO or video, um, whatever the case might be. There's lots and lots of platforms in order to go out and showcase our business. But sometimes we forget about one of those fundamental pieces of um, being able to engage a customer when they're already in front of you or they're already looking at you. And obviously, with technology, I think from a cost perspective, lots of businesses get farther and farther and farther away from um, anything that's print related. Um, and so I was with one of my kids the other day at a car dealership, and they don't do brochures anymore. They're like, hey, you just go onto the website, right? So I think that there's some of those things where we're moving away, but when we think about most businesses, most small businesses, there's really legitimate ways that you can utilize some type of a print function or some type of a physical function when you're dealing with customers that in this physical world. And so the idea of taking um, offline to online communication to offline again. So like the consumer's offline, you're interacting with the customer online, and then you're bringing it back to an offline transaction is really, really interesting. A couple of weeks ago in one of these meetings, an executive at Facebook was talking about how, I mean, obviously all about privacy, and there's all these other things that are kind of changing the way that we can target online. But he's kind of bringing up the point. At least we can still target online. We can track everything online, um, and there's all those methods in place where offline there's no way to track it. But we do think that there's ways to track offline, and we've talked about how we utilize QR code to start conversations and to get leads and other things. And so that's what I want to focus on today is really thinking about and enabling every offline component of your business, thinking and helping you understand some ways or identify some ways within your business that you can actually utilize offline is a huge asset for you today. Um, just because, and if I were to come to you, and it doesn't really matter your business, I mean, you have a certain amount of money that you can spend for every lead. And um, I was there at the very beginning of paid search. And paid search was awesome because you had businesses that were have been spending a lot of money offline. They were starting to come online, and there was these banner ads, but there was no kind of proof of the value of those ads. And so when paid pay per click came along, paid search came along, it was awesome because people could say, I could pay 5 cents or 10 cents or 15 cents. Now it's $5, $10, $15, so on and so forth. But I can pay that for every person who comes to my website. So it's one step closer to conversion. There's lots of platforms where you can just pay per lead today, right? So if I were coming into your business and I'm like, how much does it cost you, or how much money can you spend to acquire a single customer? You can think about that, but um, so so when you think about that, and if I came to you and I said, okay, yeah, I can run all these ads, and you can spend $15 a customer, you can spend $25 a customer, you can spend $200 a customer, you can spend $1,000 per customer, whatever that amount is. If I come to you and said, hey, you can run all these ads, and you're only going to pay this certain amount when you got a lead, businesses can actually control that, and they love that because it allows them to then maximize those efforts, and they're not risking a lot of money on something that may or may not work out for them. So I'm going to bring that back to print. If you were to go to your printing company today and you want to send out 1,000 postcards to 1,000 customers, you're going to spend 700, 800, 900, $1,000, whatever it is, and you don't know if that's actually going to work or not. Um, you might be able to track the people who call, maybe the certain phone number on there. Um, One of the things that we found that works 100% of the time when implemented is giving the consumer a more convenient way to connect with you. And so something as simple uh, as a QR code on that ad is or on that postcard gives consumers a better way to interact. And so in this case, it's really cool because you can track how many people are engaging with that. So we're taking offline and now creating how many people are engaging with that particular creative. So it could be a different postcard, it could be a door hanger, it could be a mailer, it doesn't really matter. But now we can see how many people are at least engaging with it. We still may not know who they are, but at least we can actually see that they're engaging with it. And so that actually is just like some methods of are people engaging with my ad? Um, are they clicking on my ad? They may be coming to my website. I still don't know what happens to them, but at least I know that they're engaging with it. So that creative, that message, um, is working. And so it's really cool that you can actually take something that's offline, and utilize some of the same types of behaviors to see if that is going to have an effect online. And obviously, whatever you're doing, there's going to be a print cost to it, so you have to kind of weigh that into the factor that into the overall um, success metrics. But it is cool that we can actually start tracking some of those offline things that we've never been able to track before. And of course, not everyone's going to scan that, not everyone's going to engage with it. But kind of the next step is um, if you can get 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10% engagement rate, so in this case, a scan rate, um, now what do you do with that? Lots of businesses, and we just had a customer we were talking to a couple of days ago. They're like, "Oh, we want to send it all to our website," and so we're sending very targeted someone who wants to engage with your business. We're sending them to your website where they have to basically start all over. In our case, what we do with businesses, and it works so incredibly well, is we actually immediately um, engage in a dialogue, allow that customer to actually start engaging with our brand or our business in a even in the simplest ways possible, and we can utilize AI and bot technology in order to produce a really, really good outcome and engage that customer right at the moment they want to be engaged. And so for us, it doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if it's during a football game, baseball game, hockey game, basketball game, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter when it is. The bot never turns off. The AI never turns off. It's always there, and it's always there to engage and capture that conversation. So we can think about a lot of ways, a lot of areas, and it doesn't really matter the type of business. If you have a business that's in the physical world, you today are missing out on opportunities to connect with potential customers, which provide potential revenue for your business, um, and capturing leads of people who are in the physical world around you and are engaging with you. And so, if that is your postcard campaign, that is awesome. If it's um, I don't know, the window on the front of your business on in a mall or on a street, um, if it is your service trucks that are going out on appointments, um, if it's like this one that I just showed you. I don't know what. Oh, it's back in here. Um, like their trailer, they can actually put QR codes on that, so when it's out, people can scan it. So like you have all these areas where you're actually building um, really cool trust with a customer. Um, they don't need to, if they see that you're ABC Plumbing Company in Alpine, Utah, and you're at the next door's house doing a job, there's some instant credibility that comes there. The first thing that they're probably thinking is, oh yeah, I need to go to Google and see if they're credible or not. They're already doing our neighbor's house, the Joneses, so you already have some instant level of trust. And so why don't you make it easy for them to actually connect with you right at that given time and collect that lead? And so when we think about those lead costs, a lot of times our business, we may be willing to spend 25, 50, $100, whatever it is for a lead. Um, there's leads sitting right in front of every single business that they're not taking advantage of, and I think sometimes they think that it's a little bit too complicated. But in our case, we've made it super simple. So like um, any type of business can actually. It doesn't mean that because the truck's next door that you're going to get 1,000 people a month that are scanning that and driving to your business. But what if you could get one more booked appointment a day, or two more booked appointments a week, or three more booked appointments a week, or seven or eight more booked appointments on a monthly basis as a result of doing nothing different than you're doing today, but just um, implementing a way for the customer of yours or the consumer or people in your physical area to see you as a different type of business and to be able to engage with you when they want on their terms. As unfortunate as it is, people don't want to pick up the phone anymore. They don't want to call a business. They don't want to walk in the business and feel like nobody wants to be sold to. And um, so we live in this new world where, and maybe part of it's because of the pandemic, whatever the case might be, but um, we want to engage, but we don't want to feel uncomfortable. And so, as much as we can do as businesses to allow our customers to interact with our businesses in the most comfortable way possible for them, the better your business is going to thrive and grow. And who doesn't want more leads? Who doesn't want more customers? Who doesn't want more customer engagement? We may be saying, well, I have limited resources, so I can't take on a lot more, or that's too complicated. Um, but it's really not. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if you can utilize automation and technology to do a lot of that heavy lifting, you don't have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning when someone wants to engage with you. You don't need to be there 24/7 monitoring 10 different channels. Let's just utilize those pieces that you're already doing. And so we see a lot of success in the direct sell space where um, someone as someone may be selling a product and they can utilize these awesome little QR codes, dynamic QR codes that are on each product listing that will drive a conversation right back to them. Or um, it could be in you're selling a more expensive product like solar or roofing or something like that, and you can utilize the same product to engage customers and allow customers to interact at their pace, not your pace. Just because you want to sell them something and just because they need a new roof or they need solar or they need new windows or whatever the case might be, and you knocking on their door doesn't mean that they have time right now to interact with you. And so sometimes we think, well, they're just trying to push us away so they can kind of move on, but maybe they really do want those services, but we're not giving them that space. And um, SMS text is a very simple way to give the customer the space. You end up with a much more qualified lead. It allows them to move at their pace, um, not your pace, and allows them to engage in their way. And, and ultimately, it provides a much better customer experience in the long run, um, because you learn more about the customer and you learn more about the customer's needs. And in aggregate, you're learning about um, like what questions people have about your products